Well, the wildness started today at about 8:30 with the last jobs report before the election, adding 161,000 jobs, missing expectations of 175,000. The unemployment rate did go down a tick to 4.9%, but that's because more discouraged workers pulled out of the labor force. Donald Trump slamming what he calls President Obama's failed policies earlier today.
These numbers are an absolute disaster. Labor force participation has fallen to its lowest level in nearly 40 years. That's what's happening. Nearly 1 in 4 people in their prime working years are not working.
Here now for reaction, Steve Forbes, Forbes media chairman, Jack Hough, senior editor at Barron's magazine, and Ingrid Pierce of Walker's Global. Thank you all for coming. Steve, is Trump right?
He is, David, especially when you look at the prime working years of 25 to 54. That labor participation rate is still one of the worst in decades. So even though the compensation went up a little bit, you look at business investment, you look at new business creations, you look at the really backup in the credit markets for loans to small and new businesses, not good.
Yeah, and Ingrid, look at the market. I mean, this is historical. 1980, my God, that's the year that Ronald Reagan was elected. That's the last time we had 9 straight down days. There was a time, by the way, Ingrid, when the market was okay with a so-so jobs report because they thought, well, at least that means the Fed won't be raising rates, but not today.
Not today, and it's been down for such a long time, as you said. Only know what we're going to see next. I think the answer on the jobs report is it's not a particularly strong result, pretty fair to middling and very temperate, so I don't think that's going to give anybody any excitement either. The wage uptick is probably a little bit positive, but doesn't bode well for what the next phase of this election.
Jack, one positive news, hourly earnings are up a little bit, but so is insurance. So you get a little more money in your paycheck, but then you got to pay it out in insurance because of Obamacare.
Yeah, I thought the report was pretty good. No one cares in terms of voting. If you're a voter who didn't know who you liked on Thursday, you weren't hanging out to wait to see what the labor force participation rate was on Friday. But I think the good news here, David, about this stock market is, yes, it's been falling a little bit each day. But there were some, a lot of us were worried in the event of a Trump win that you could see a real tumble in the market. I think this is kind of invalidating that because it has been a very gradual decline, and Trump's chances are rising significantly.
All right, let me just ask straight out then. Steve Forbes, is the market more worried about a Trump win or a Hillary Clinton win?
Short-term, Trump. Long-term, he's got the better tax plan than she does by a country mile.
Ingrid, what about the world? The world is looking at what's happening. Of course, this happened before. They were very dubious about Ronald Reagan before he had a track record as president. So it's happened before. But does the world think that America's gone nuts?
Unfortunately, sometimes, and some people do, but, look at what's happening in the rest of the world, too. It's not only America. This is a global phenomenon. I think we've seen uptick in risings in different parts of the country. We've seen this happen in the UK and other places. So America is not alone by any means.